Following is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are so.
It's April in the ATL, but it feels like December in Chicago. It is frigid, it is cold and windy here at Wrigley Field, where the Braves move into town to take on the Chicago Cubs in the weekend series here at historic Wrigley Field. Hi again, friends. Chip Carey, Joe Simpson. Welcome to the ballpark. Holy cow, the Braves got a win yesterday against the Red Sox at Fenway Park. But it's been a challenging 24 hours for Freddie Gonzalez and the ball club. A lot of road-weary warriors in that Atlanta clubhouse this morning.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. Zombie-like might be another. Yeah. I mean, this is kind of ridiculous. Somebody ought to get their ears pinned back for this to happen to a major league team, to have to play a night game in Boston, get on a plane, fly to Chicago and play a day game. It's ridiculous. The team didn't get to the hotel till about 3 a.m. local time. Our crew, I mean, hats off to our crew. They had a crew call to get set up for this game at 6 a.m. Boy, I don't know how they're doing it, honestly. And these players are going to have to go out today and face John Lester and try to do something about it.
In 47-degree weather with the wind blowing straight in at 13 miles an hour. Not an easy task, and not an easy task to beat this Cubs team, Joe. A club that's built to win the World Series, and right now they're off to their best start in over 100 years.
Their pitching has been absolutely fabulous. You know, you don't even see Jake Arrieta on there because he pitched yesterday. These are the three guys the Braves will face over the next 3 days, and Jason Hamill is off to the best start of his career. He's in the top 2 in ERA in the National League. Their offense is going wild, tied for first in major leagues, 6.2 runs per game. And that 74-run differential between runs scored and runs given up, well, the Braves have scored a total of 74 runs, if that gives you any idea of how well the Cubs are playing right now.
They are playing great baseball. Hopefully the Braves will be up to the challenge in Game 1 of the series, a series that features former Brave Jason Heyward is in his first year with the Cubs. There's a connection between Jason Heyward and today's Brave starter Aaron Blair. We'll tell you about that right after this.
Atlanta Braves baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. sponsored by Delta Airlines, your local Ford dealer, and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
Cloudy, windy day here in Chicago, but holy cow, it's still beautiful at Wrigley Field in Chicago, where the Braves get a look at an old familiar face, Jason Hayward. His departure really set the stage, Joe, for the Atlanta Braves retooling project that's currently underway.
Yeah, it was one of the moves that set this all in process with Shelby Miller coming over from the Cardinals. He and Terrell Jenkins in the Braves in turn, as you know, flipped Shelby Miller to the Arizona Diamondbacks for Inciarte, Blair, and
Dansby Swanson.
Dansby Swanson, thank you. So there are the four guys that all have a direct connection to Jason Hayward. With Aaron Blair going today, that's a nice connection to have. He'll be facing you as the second batter in the ball game. Aaron Blair, his first start against the New York Mets, pitched a good ball game. His numbers and his line may not show that, but he pitched a whole lot better than that line indicates. And fielded his position real well. Got a double play started there. He had another comebacker right here that he was able to spear and turn into an easy out. So for a big old guy on the mound, he moves pretty quick around the mound.
And here are the numbers for Aaron Blair Sunday against the Mets. Got in trouble early, settled in, and pitched a real good ball game. He'll have to do that today against John Lester.
And he felt good about that, too. And one of the scouting reports we got on this Cubs team is that he needs to be aggressive against them and throw strikes.
John Lester throws a lot of strikes. Set a club record for strikeouts by a left-hander last year. He's off to a terrific start this year.
Yeah, and not the kind of year he had in mind for his first year in the Chicago uniform. He went 11-12. Well, he's making up for that with his start this year. He hasn't given up more than one earned run in 4 of his starts. So he's been awfully tough. He's got a great cutter and still throws hard, 32 years old, and makes his home now in Atlanta. So that's a little insult to injury. There are his numbers this year, 5 walks to 23 strikeouts, and there's that note, 1 earned run in 3 of his 4 starts is all he's allowed. And
it's a great day to pitch for Lester and for Blair. Hopefully some of the Braves will be able to tangle these gusty winds and hit it under radar. Freddie Freeman's been doing that. He's heating up. It's a cold day. The Braves need all the heat they can handle. And Kelsey will talk to Freddie about his hot streak when we come back to Chicago after this.
Atlanta Braves baseball is sponsored by your local Toyota dealers, Let's Go Places, the Georgia Lottery, and Synovus, the Bank of Here.
Welcome back, guys. It is a chilly and windy day here in Chicago, and I have my gloves on in April. Now, last night was an incredible win for the guys, you know, a really complete team win. But what the Braves really needed was for Freddie Freeman, one of the leaders in that clubhouse, to step up, especially at the plate, and he did just that, going 3 for 4, and that's going to take us to our Georgia lottery, hitting the jackpot. Take a look at the last 9 games, guys. He has raised his average almost 100 points, and we spoke to him in the clubhouse earlier about what exactly he's changed to make that improvement.
Been working hard on just staying in my legs and my swing, and it's finally starting to translate into the game. You got Nick at the top of the order getting 4 or 5 hits a game. It seems like you just want to do your part and get on and help the team win. And it's definitely nice to finally get some hits going.
So our road trip continues here in Chicago as the Atlanta Braves try to start another winning streak. We have Chip and Joe with the lineups and first pitch coming up right after the break.
is sponsored by Georgia Power and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
Welcome back to historic Wrigley Field, where it's cold, it's windy, and for the moment it's dry. The forecast is going to be cold all day today. 100% chance of rain tomorrow, and that's the most important camera shot we have for you right now. The wind direction blowing straight in at 11 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's a great day to pitch. It's funny, you and I were walking up to this press box, going up the ramps back and forth to get up here, and as soon as we got the wind in our face, Don Sutton said, "Ooh, great day to pitch."
And we said, "Ooh, it's way too cold. Let's get upstairs because we're wimps."
Yeah.
And so Aaron Blair ready to go for the Braves in Game 1 of the series against the hot-hitting Chicago Cubs with a 16-5 record and 6-2 so far at home.
And by the way, Aaron Blair came ahead of the team. One of the few times you've ever seen a Braves pitcher not travel with the team. He came early so he could get a good night's rest for today's start.
And he's probably the best rested member of our traveling party. And before we continue on, kudos to our great crew. They got about 2 hours of sleep last night. They got to the truck at 6 a.m. today to get ready for this game. And that is our travel timeline. As you said, how does this happen?
I don't know. I don't know who put a stamp of approval on something like this. It slipped through the cracks. It's just a horrible situation for the Atlanta Braves. The Cubs were already home, played a day game yesterday. They're well rested. But you're right. We have the best crew in baseball. Fox Sports, with all the sporting events that we broadcast for you across the country. There's several different regions. We are the Southeast region. Nobody has as good a crew as we do, even within the Fox family. And when they come out here after getting here at 3 o'clock, showing up to get everything set up at 6 a.m., I can't say enough good things about them, and we'll bring you a first-class quality show today despite all that nonsense of travel.
And one more note, can't blame the Cubs. There's a city ordinance that prevents them from playing night games at home on Friday unless it's the playoffs. So the Braves and Cubs are really hemmed in by that ill-fated decision. So John Lester gets the ball for Chicago. 4 starts, 2-1 record, a sub-2 ERA.
Yeah, we got a couple of big horses out there today. Lester's 6'4", 240. Blair is 6'4", 250. Lester, originally from the Tacoma, Seattle area, makes his home now in Atlanta, where he lives with his family. Coming off a start against Cincinnati, where the only run he allowed was a solo homer. 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. And he has been racking them up. You saw there 5 walks, 23 strikeouts in all.
Here's the Cubs defense. Soler, Fowler, former Brave Jason Hayward in right. Rizzo, Zobrist, Russell, and Baez around the horn. No Chris Bryant out with a sore ankle. Hurt that yesterday. May miss a couple of games. David Ross is John Lester's personal catcher. This is David's final go-round in the big leagues. He's calling it his year-long retirement party, and already he's had a terrific year for Chicago, catching a no-hitter from Jake Arrieta. Here's the Atlanta batting order. Nick Markakis will lead it off. Freddie Freeman hitting third and heating up. Let's hope the Braves can manufacture some runs on a windy day in Chicago. Markakis average back over 319 RBIs for the Atlanta right fielder. And that one cracked out a play foul. And the temperature's actually dropped. It's 44 degrees at first pitch. Talking with Len Casper, the fine broadcast voice on Cubs television, he said the last 7 days in Chicago have been the worst spring weather he remembers. As far as rain and sleet and just frigidly cold weather.
Yeah, and they're already saying tomorrow's most likely a washout.
A strike, says C.B. Buckner.
Yeah, just when you thought your day couldn't get any better. There's a little C.B. behind the plate. That'll make everybody feel good.
Jim Reynolds, Manny Gonzalez, and Fielden Culbreth, the rest of the crew. It's 1-2 for Nick. And a swing and a miss. Markakis is now on strikes.
Last year, the Cubs pitching staff was #1 in strikeouts in the major leagues. They struck out 1,431 batters. And they're off to a good start this year, too, with their outstanding starting pitching. And he is just one of 5 good ones for the Cubs.
Yeah, there were some folks who thought he had a bad year last year for Chicago. He had a losing record. but a 3.3 ERA. And as I mentioned in our opening comments, he struck out more hitters as a left-handed pitcher than any other Cubs lefty in franchise history last season. One ball, no strikes for Daniel Castro. That's popped out of play.
Daniel could use a hit. He was 0 for Boston, both in Atlanta and in Boston. That's put a big dent in that good start he was off to, average-wise. That's the cutter. Starts on the inside third of the plate and runs all the way in on your thumbs.
Interesting today, too, Joe, that Freddie Gonzalez has both Eric Ibar and Daniel Castro in the lineup, but Castro's playing shortstop, Ibar's at second.
Now, that was an interesting note. I thought from a defensive standpoint, I didn't get a chance to talk to Freddie much before the game, but I don't know if this is a precursor of things to come or not. Castro has been the better defender.
2 balls, 2 strikes for Daniel Castro. Freddie Freeman on deck. Thank you very much. Full count.
Lester was walking off the mound to just circle it. Watch the throw down to third base. David Ross held it. Joe Madden barked about it. To no avail, and Daniel gets another look.
And he takes a walk. And Lester not happy. He thought he had Daniel struck out and said he walks him. And now Freddie Freeman's the batter.
There was something like 18 walks in the game played here yesterday. The Cubs received 11, and even Arrieta walked 5 guys. So yeah, it was kind of crazy. 18 walks and 18 strikeouts. Cubs a winner.
Probably in a brisk 2 hours and 3 minutes.
I don't think so. Closing in on 4.
Freeman swings the first and fouls it away. And you're right, it was a 3-hour and 45-minute game. 1-7-2 by Chicago. Third time this year they had 10 or more walks as an offense in this season alone. Runner goes. Ross's throw is right on the money.
Daniel Castro is pointing to the dugout like he was able to go around Addison Russell. So they're going to take a look at it back in the Braves clubhouse. Quick release by the 39-year-old catcher. And around the tag. And the tag was in the chest. His hand might have been down. Tag was in the chest.
And no review. Braves will not challenge the call. So Castro's
good ankle.
Daniel thrown out trying to steal. Now Freeman hits with a 2-strike count.
Guess it's too early to try. I asked Freddie before the game about hitting here. Does he like hitting here? And he says, I like it a lot. I said, do you see the ball well? He said, I do indeed. He said, but I don't envy the right-handed hitters now. He said, I already came out and looked at center field, and they put some new white lettering in the facade right below the bleachers in center field, and right-handed hitters, that's probably going to be right in their sight line.
Freeman swings and misses. Lester has a couple of first-inning strikeouts. A walk and a caught stealing sends us to the home first. Blair, his first road start in the big leagues, comes here at Wrigley Field in Chicago.
And his career minor league numbers, very impressive. 26-13, a 3.13 ERA, ton of strikeouts in 382 innings. And remember, this year at Gwinnett, he started off 3-0 with a 1.42 ERA. His 4 keys to pitching success today, really pretty simple. Number 1, turn around, check the wind. It's blowing in. You can be aggressive, and you need to be aggressive because these guys are number 1 in baseball with 114 walks. They drew 11 of them yesterday. They're going to work the count, get ahead of them early.
Here's Atlanta's own Dexter Fowler to lead things off. A man who many thought was going to sign with the Orioles, instead had a change of heart in spring training and came back to the Cubs. And Fowler's having a great year. Hitting .356. And that's off the plate. 15 RBIs for Dexter. He's knocked in a run in 5 straight games. Just like that, it's 3-0. And a 4-pitch free pass. You are asking for trouble doing that against this Cubs lineup, which features Jason Hayward second, Ben Zobrist third, Anthony Rizzo with 23 RBIs in the cleanup spot. It's a lineup that does not have Chris Bryant, who's out with a bad ankle, but still the Cubs scoring 6 runs a game, second in the league.
When you're getting in your first 21 games, when you're getting 114 free guys on base, you're asking for trouble if you're the opponent, and already a leadoff walk.
Ball 1 to Jason Hayward. Players missed with 5 straight. That went right down central. Hayward don't even count. Hayward, I think, really shocked the St. Louis Cardinals when he left the Redbirds to come to the Cubs. Historically, when a player goes to St. Louis, they love it so much they never want to leave. In fact, they apparently offered Hayward as much, if not more, money to stay, but he wanted to come to Chicago.
Yeah, the guys with the Cardinals, we saw them second series of the year, said that the Cardinals actually offered more.
Bouncing ball out toward Ibar. He will flip to Castro for 1. That's all Atlanta can get. Hayward at first with 1 man out.
Jason's not off to a rip-roaring start as a Cub. He's hitting .232 as you saw his numbers. No homers. He's got 4 doubles. And he has stolen 4 bases, so they're going to have to keep an eye on him here. Strikeouts and 82 at bats, 83 at bats now.
Ben Zobrist has been a terrific addition for the Cubs. Started last year with the A's, then went to Kansas City. The Mets tried to sign this man. Instead, Chicago brought him here after a 13-homer season over the American League. And a .257 average. Started his home season very slowly. He had an 0 for 20 home hitting streak until a base hit early yesterday against the Brewers. Blair missed high.
With all these walks, as you might suspect, their on base percentage is off the charts, and Zobrist is one of them. His on base percentage is .391. He actually has more walks than strikeouts, 16-10. Fowler, who led off the game, has a .473 on base percentage.
So they have the opponents in the stretch an awful lot. And Blair, after a 4-pitch walk, has Hayward at first and 1 out. Everything's missing the same spot.
And nibbling too much. nibbling too much. With this wind blowing in, you got to test it. Be a little more aggressive.
Dangerous pitch. And ball 4. Second walk of the inning. Blair in some first inning difficulty like he was against the Mets. Anthony Rizzo's coming up, and here are the very impressive offensive ranks for the Cubs. These are not National League numbers, but against all of Major League Baseball.
Second and on base, as I was just talking about. 8th in homers, led by Rizzo's 8 homers. And that run differential that we spoke of, and the walks.
Rizzo's walked 17 times. And despite a .213 average, has knocked in 23 runs. That's 5 away from the Cubs' April record set by Derek Lee. 2 on, 1 out, first inning. There's the first pitch strike.
I like the call, went to a breaking ball instead.
Ripped into the Braves bullpen.
Flowers wanted a high target. I don't think they got it high enough. They scattered the Braves bullpen by tomahawking that pitch. That's right in the area where he had his glove. Just ran back to the middle of the plate.
Oh, 2. Runners go. Swing, ground ball first. Freeman's got it. He'll race to the bag. 2 outs.
That's interesting. Both runners moving on an 0-2 count. Liable to see a lot of unconventional stuff the next 3 days with Joe Madden as the manager. I don't know that he has one of those proverbial books.
No. Here's Jorge Soler, the left fielder for Chicago. Soler, 2 for his last 22.
When you're getting a lot of help from the opponent's pitching staff with all those walks, you don't have to get too many hits. But one area where the Cubs do scuffle, they're only hitting .239 with men in scoring position. They were 2 for 17 yesterday. 17 opportunities.
Look at where Gary Jones, the Cubs' third base coach, is standing. As Soler digs back in, he is standing on the warning track right in front of the Cubs dugout.
Yeah, I had to look around to find him when you said that.
Players ahead now, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Good fastball.
Well, one thing we noticed about Aaron in that game against the Mets, his ability to limit damage. Remember, he had first and third, nobody out back at Turner Field, and then just allowed 1 run.
Yeah, sacrifice fly and got a big strikeout, throw him out double play.
Big pitch. And Soler laid off. Swing and a miss. What a job by Aaron Blair. He issues a couple of first inning walks, and the Cubs can't score. We go to the second.
sports and outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
That's at the intersection of Waveland and Sheffield Avenues, out beyond the marquee, or out beyond the scoreboard in center field here at Wrigley Field. Just a few green leaves around this part of town. Spring is very, very slowly trying to spring. Little buds of ivy starting to pop on the walls here in Chicago. As Adonis Garcia leads off the Atlanta second. I promise we're going to have games where the temperature is going to be over 70 degrees on the road. One of these days. A cold weekend here in Chicago. As Garcia bounces one through the box, a leadoff hit. And then we head to New York for 3 with the Mets.
Adonis had been in a little dry spell himself, but had a base hit in the 7th inning last night, and then a fly ball to deep right. He gets his series started in a good way here.
I wonder if that was that knuckleball effect we talked about.
Could be.
Stephen Wright. There's the first hit for either club, and that'll bring up Jeff Francoeur. Little pop. Russell at short, drifting out, still going, and he's going to make the basket catch. 1 out. Even with the wind blowing in, you can hit the ball out at Wrigley Field, but you almost have to keep it below the top of the bleachers. It has to be one of those line drive home runs. There could be a little more arc now to left field with a big giant replay scoreboard out there and the much deeper depth of the bleachers. But still, it's a great pitcher's park on a day like today. And here's Tyler Flowers. He's had good luck against John Lester. Let's see what he does today. Pitch to him is a strike.
Francoeur got jammed with a cutter, busted in on him, and that was the same pitch there to Tyler Flowers, who's had some decent luck against Lester. 5 for 18. Another cutter.
Pitchers always come up with a pitch, then hitters come up with a way to neutralize that pitch. There hasn't been a solution for the cutter, it seems.
No, there hasn't. I mean, he throws 92, 93, and that cutter was 88. It's not as hard, but then it's not straight either. It's biting in on you. If you're right-handed.
Flowers took a strike, and that's 3 strikeouts for Lester. The Garcia leadoff single, a pop out and a strikeout brings up Eric Ibar.
David Ross with a nice job of setting up and then not moving his body, just sliding his glove over there to receive that pitch. We've seen that many times in a Braves uniform.
Ibar lays down a bunt, and it's a beauty. And at the very last instant, I believe that's going to be called a foul ball.
Yeah, David Ross was complaining about it from the very beginning, and Field and Culberth came in from third base and agreed.
That's impossible for the home plate umpire to see,
right.
So corner base umpires made the call.
Could hit the ground, came up and hit him in the knee.
No balls and a strike for Eric Ibar. Hitting a .152. That's in the dirt. Even count.
Javi Baez is playing third base in place of Bryant while he nurses that sore ankle, and Joe Madden raves about Baez's defense. No matter where he puts him on the infield, very confident playing him at second, short, or third base.
One thing Joe Madden has tried to preach with his Cubs is to do the simple things exceptionally well. That one's cut on and missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That and a t-shirt which is kind of interesting that says, "Try not to suck."
Yeah.
That his players have under their uniform tops.
An interesting mantra from the manager for the year.
Yeah. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Runner goes. Bouncing ball right side, and it's going to be off the glove of Zobrist. And the Braves have runners at first and third. Ivar guessed right. Zobrist was the man covering. And Atlanta a chance with Drew Stubbs to score first.
Good piece of running there, too, by Garcia, who didn't stop. Took a peek back. And I think more or less assumed the ball went through. Zobrist knocked it down, but he was still able to make third.
Boy, an early run would be big if the wind and weather. Stubbs looks for his first career hit against John Lester. Swing and a miss. Drew came on as a pinch runner last night. Picked up his 4th steal. That leads the club. So it's a little extra pressure for the Cubs defense. Fast runner in the batter's box. Gonzalez trying to force the issue here early. Pitch. Just missed. Even count.
Drew's 3 for his last 7, but they haven't come with runners on base. Either leading off an inning or 2 out, nobody on.
To use the old Tom Glavine line, there is a base open. It's just not first base with the pitcher on deck.
Are you referring to an old line or old Tom?
Old Tom
Glavine's line.
Old Tom with an old line. Covered all the bases on that one. 2 balls and a strike for Stubbs, and that just missed.
That was a backdoor cutter. And Lester wanted that one. We're going to see a lot of that today, folks. Both sides. More from Tyler Flowers and from Aaron Blair since it's only his 2nd start, but there'll be a lot of complaining about balls and strikes today.
Full count. Ivar will be off with the pitch at first. Adonis Garcia at third, scoreless 2nd. Swing and a miss. Lester has 4 strikeouts. The Braves fail to score in the 2nd. For Braves Live, we'll recap all of tonight's action, check in with skipper Freddie Gonzalez, and we'll into the clubhouse to hear from the players. Braves Live after our game, presented by Xfinity. Matt Whistler enjoying his trip to Wrigley Field for the Braves. He was in a very happy mood today. It was selfie palooza for the young Braves right-hander.
That is wonderful.
Now to be 23, 24 years old and getting a chance to go to Fenway Park and Wrigley Field on back-to-back days in the big leagues. Wow. What a treat.
Yeah, and not have to sit in the bullpen.
Yeah.
You usually find a place in the dugout. It's warmer.
And you know that's going to change here when these renovations at Wrigley continue. This area is in the midst of a $400 million retrofit and renovation. They're going to move the bullpens under the bleachers.
Is that right?
Yeah. Baez tried to bunt, couldn't stop himself. 0-2. They've already redone the home clubhouse. I mean, it's apparently state of the art. The old McDonald's that was across the street at Wrigley Field has been torn down. They're going to be building a luxury hotel right across the street from the ballpark with parking. There's a new office building that's owned by the Cubs down the left field line. And last on the list will be the visitors, clubhouse, dugout, and the media area. Foul ball at the plate. That might have got CD Buck. Dirt was splashed up inside the mask. Looks to be the case. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Flowers had some shades on, I believe, and took them off. Don't need those today.
Swing and a miss. Aaron Blair has his second strikeout. Good start to the second. That's out number 1 for Addison Russell.
Sinker down and away. Got through a rough first inning where he walked a pair of guys. Now start getting into a bit of a rhythm.
Cubs really took off last year when Joe Madden replaced Starlin Castro at shortstop with Addison Russell. It was a very difficult political move here in Chicago because Starlin Castro had a big contract. He was one of the best young hitters as a middle infielder in Cubs history in his early days in Chicago. But instead of just flat out benching Castro, he moved him to second base and kind of eased him over there. And he and Russell played very well together up the middle for Chicago before Starlin Castro was traded away.
I had the pleasure of doing the Cubs and Cardinals postseason playoff game last year, and Joe Madden talked about that and was asked, how did you not lose Castro and took the position away from him?
Fly ball center. No way. Windy Bay. Stubbs catches that a step onto the track. 1 out, or 2 out, excuse me.
That'll help prove to Aaron Blair that he can give up a long fly here today. But Joe Madden said, I told him that I needed him. I told him the team needed him. And what was best for the team was for him to go to second base and play there. And he'd be there virtually every day. And that it was up to him to make the best of it. He could be upset, pout about it, or he could go make himself a good player there. And he said he chose the latter and really helped us. And and Joe also said that he constantly reaffirmed to him how important he was to the team, even though he wasn't playing his natural position, talking about Castro.
So when people hear about the term manager, it's not just managing the game and managing a lineup card. It truly is managing the people and the personalities and the emotions, right?
No doubt. Got to know their personalities.
Mile-high pop-up by David Ross. Garcia in foul ground near the third base coaching box makes the play, and that retires the side. Impressive second for Aaron Blair. 3 up, 3 down. He'll lead off the Atlanta third. Well, quite obviously, the Chicago Cubs, one of the class teams in the National League now, but just 4 or 5 short years ago, that wasn't the case. But Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer have come in and have dramatically revamped this roster and have overseen a rebuilding project for Chicago that they hope will culminate in their first World Championship since 1908.
You know, when I watch that, a lot of what they have done reminds me of what Washington has done, and that is where they had some miserable years and made real good first-round choices for their organization, whether it was no-brainers like Strasburg and Bryce Harper for Washington. The Cubs, finishing last, had high picks and got Schwarber and Bryant and didn't miss. That was instrumental.
Well, everyone sees where they are now. What everyone forgets is how long it took them to get to the now. Hoyer and Epstein were hired in 2011 after 2 last-place finishes here in Chicago. It wasn't any better in 2012. They lost 101 games. They lost 96 games in 2013. They were 4 games under 500 in 2014 before breaking through last year. As Blair strikes out, Lester has 5 already today. The point is, the Cubs had the organizational courage to tear this thing down to the studs and to the foundation and build a foundation that could create success long term, which is exactly what the Atlanta Braves plan is as well. Will it be as successful as the Cubs? Don't know. Will it take as long as the Cubs? Don't know. Hope not. But that's the most difficult thing for fans, I think, to get their heads around is, yeah, is this hard to watch a 5-17 team? Yeah. It is. But you have to believe that there's a plan in place and a plan that's going to work. Sharply hit to third. There's that man Baez. Nice grab. 2 outs. And Lester cruising right along. He's thrown strike 1 to 8 of the first 9 hitters.
Get your minor league organization in place and you start adding players through the draft and developing them, and then you need some complements through free agency or trades. Well, you got to get the right people, and so far so good for the Cubs in that regard. Not only did they get Jason Hayward to sign as a free agent from the Cardinals, they got John Lackey too.
Fly ball. Straightaway center. Dexter Fowler is going to handle that, and John Lester cruises through inning number 3. He's going to lead off for Chicago. We're scoreless after 2.5. Induct John Schuerholz and Andrew Jones into the Braves Hall of Fame at a luncheon Friday, August 19th. Make sure you get your tickets before they're all gone. All guests are guaranteed to sit with a current or former Braves player, coach, alumnus, or Hall of Fame member. Go to your phones and call 404-614-2310 for more information and order your tickets today.
Yeah, get you some game tickets while you're at it. The Washington Nationals will be in town at that time.
Lester leads off against Blair. And rounds to second. Ibar to his left. Peck the first in time, retires the Cubs pitcher. One down.
A little more routine here so far for Aaron Blair. After that trouble in the first inning in his first start where he gave up a run. He gave up a leadoff single in the second inning and got a double play. Faced 4 batters in the third, got another double play in the fourth, and retired the side in order in the fifth. 3 double plays in his 5+ innings in that start.
He walked Dexter Fowler on 4 straight pitches to start the game, but pitched out of it. He hasn't thrown a strike to Dexter yet. Right at Ibar. Well, you can see that ball slow down and hit the grass, didn't you?
Sure could.
2 outs. Aaron Blair the other day sent out a tweet talking about his major league debut. Sounds like he was a very excited and grateful young man.
Yeah, I like that last part there. He thanked all his friends and family who bought tickets and drove to Atlanta and made it to the game. And mostly thank you, Braves country, for the welcome. I'm excited to be in Atlanta.
Retired 8 straight. Here's Hayward. Jason takes a strike.
I've found him to be very personable, confident, and can't help but think with his stuff he's going to be here for a while.
And this is what makes the remodeling so exciting. When these players start to matriculate through the minor league system and get to the big leagues, these guys are the present, they're the future too. Aaron's looking good in Chicago today. That bounced up there. Flowers knocked it away. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, there's going to be good days and bad days, and I go back to what Tom Glavine told us in the last homestand. I learned more losing 17 games one year than I would have winning 15 in AAA. I learned a lot about myself.
Swing and a miss. Jason Hayward is down on strikes. Aaron Blair is matching John Lester pitch for pitch. He's set down 9 in a row. Maybe just 10 pitches to send this game to the 4th.
That's an easy one, isn't it?
Yep.
That is an easy one. Just a couple of 7s and some squiggles.
Freddie must be French. Because Europeans, they put the line through the 7 so that you know it's not a 1.
Yeah.
He had a good time before the game. He was giving Jason Hayward some grief about his fancy baseball cleats.
Yeah, they met out in center field, said hello, and the first thing Freeman did was point down at Jason's shoes, who Jason immediately pointed at Dexter Fowler as if to blame him.
Well, we're a third of the way through. We have no score. Blair hasn't given up a hit to the Cubs. The Braves have 2. Lester now 3 balls, no strikes to Freddie Freeman.
Not as big a shift here for Freeman as we saw in Boston, but that's due mostly to John Lester. The fact that it's a lefty. Although Zobrist is out on the right field grass.
Swing and a drive, belted deep right field, no doubt about it. Freddie Freeman has hit a long home run. He got the green light, 3-0, and he made Lester pay.
I was watching Hayward on that, and he pretty much just turned to watch the arc go over the top of him. Fastball right on the inner third. And never a doubt, David Ross didn't even come up out of his crouch.
So the Braves have struck first on a Freddie Freeman homer. That's grounded towards short. The first takes care of Garcia, 1 man down. Freeman now, for all of his early season offensive struggles, now 18 hits in his last 54 at bats. And believe it or not, we're told that is the first time in Freddie Freeman's career he's hit a home run on a 3-0 pitch.
Some guys don't like to hit 3-0. But when you face a guy like Lester and you feel confident you're going to get a 4-seamer and not that cutter, you better take advantage, and he did. Now, coming into this game, since his 2-for-25 start, Freddie's average has been .327, so he has really come around. I'm telling his manager about it.
Well, we said first run's the most important run. Windy day in Chicago. The Braves have it. And now Frank Coors, the batter, he popped out his only time up. First home run Lester's given up to a left-handed batter this year. And the 4th home run in total. Freeman's 3rd gives the Braves team 5. Now the 2-2 pitch to Jeff Francoeur. It's headed for the seats over the Braves dugout foul. Swing and a miss. 6 strikeouts, 2 outs. Tyler Flowers coming up.
Well, he took a lot off that pitch. See that printing up there just below the upper deck of the bleachers. And from the right-handed batter's box, a lot of that white lettering is going to be right in your sight line from where the ball comes out of the pitcher's hand. Now, from this vantage point, when that RoboCam behind home plate, you're up higher. Picture the hitters down lower on the arm angle. It always cracks me up, the nerds that do that. Go stand right behind home plate. Say, oh no, that's okay, it's way off to the right. Well, get in the batter's box and do it, and see what you think. And let John Lester fire a couple at you.
It always comes back to the nerds, doesn't it?
It does. Color heads.
Strike 3. And that retires the side. Freddie Freeman with a solo home run on a 3-0 count gives Atlanta and Aaron Blair a 1-0 lead. We go to the home fourth.
Braves going into the bottom of the fourth. And guys, upstairs, you've talked about some of the renovations to the field. Well, there's also been some renovations to the concession stands. Cubs skipper Joe Madden. This is a Joe Madden approved sandwich. It's a hoagie. You know, the recipe actually comes from his family's restaurant in Hazleton, Pennsylvania. And he said the best part of it is the peppers. And I'm not a big spicy person, even though I lived in Louisiana. But I'm about to try it out. But it has salami, ham, peppers, American cheese. It has it all. So I'm about to try it. Because where there's food, there's Kelsey.
I like it.
That's my slogan.
I like
all
it.
season, baby. All season.
Check it out. Let's see.
Let's go.
Oh, am I doing it now?
Yeah, of course.
We're trying it now.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. That wasn't a
I
bite.
know, I got a bite.
She eats like a bird.
I'm on TV. I can't stuff my face right now. It's good, though.
Dig in there.
You know, he said there's no mayonnaise or mustard or anything on that. It's just olive oil. He said none of those sauces.
Sounds great.
And he made them sample it. And he went back. He said, no, you need to fix this. You need to fix this. He said, I'll go back there and help them make it if they need it because it needs to be perfect. I want my stuff to be perfect here at the field.
That's great.
So I'll be down here.
Tastes
if you
good.
Need one.
Tastes good.
Yeah, and they sell out. They said almost every game. So I was racing down there making sure that they didn't sell out on me. I haven't tasted the peppers yet, though.
You're making the whole truck hungry. Those poor people in there.
I'll bring y'all some.
There might be a riot over
Oh, I got a pepper. Yep. There it is.
Joe.
Everybody scrambling out of their seats to attack you as soon as you came in the truck.
What did you asked Gretchen if she had anything to eat? What did she say?
Gretchen, Woody, I'm sorry if you guys are hungry. But I can't remember if I said this, but the recipe came from his aunt from the 1940s. And I think the restaurant is called the Third Base Dugout, and this sandwich is called the Third Base Hoagie.
That's great. Like it.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, Gretchen Gretchen said all she's had is espresso beans.
I'm sorry, Gretchen. I'm sorry. The people behind me say I'm blocking their view, so I think I need to go ahead and sit
Okay.
down.
Go finish your sandwich. Nice job.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Stay warm. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And a ground ball to first. Freeman's got that. He'll save Aaron Blair a step or 2, and Aaron just keeps getting the ball on the ground. He keeps working efficiently. He's now set down 10 straight Cub hitters and has not allowed a hit.
Well, he was named the International League Pitcher of the Week in the week following his near no-hitter when he had 7 innings of no-hit baseball when he was called up. So he was already in an Atlanta Braves uniform when he was named the International League Pitcher of the Week. Last year, AA and AAA combined, he was 13-5, a 2.92 ERA.
And here's Rizzo. Rizzo bounced out his first time. Beginning his second trip through the Cubs lineup. There's a double clutch there from Flowers. That looked like a strike.
That did. CB was hearing it from the Braves dugout, but he gave him a motion like he curved around the plate.
Rizzo didn't get that. His stuff was sharp today. You made a point about Aaron that's worth repeating. After the 1-2 pitch to Rizzo. The magnitude of the moment has not affected Aaron Blair in his young professional career. When he's gotten promoted, he's actually pitched better at a more competitive level.
Every time. And it started, as I said during his last start, that it started when he went to college and then went to the Cape Cod League and so on. It wasn't like he would get promoted to AA and go 0-4 before he kind of figured things out. He seemed to always start off 3-0 and dealing.
Full count pitch for the Cubs first baseman Anthony Rizzo. And a line drive toward left. There's the second out. 11 up, 11 down. Here's Jorge Soler. He struck out to end the first inning. Soler's in the midst of a long dry spell at the plate for the Cubs.
Yeah, they need him to hit. He struck out a lot last year when he played, and he played a lot last year. 101 games, 366 at bats, 10 homers, 47 RBIs. But Kyle Schwarber out for the year with that knee injury. He's going to get a lot more playing time. So they need him to take a step forward from what he did even last year. Just 24 years old.
That'll reach the seats foul. 1 ball, 1 strike.
6'4", 215. He was born in Havana. Lives now in Haiti.
Driven to right. Long run Ibar. Markakis comes in and makes the grab. It's 12 up, 12 down for Aaron Blair, who has 4 no-hit innings and a 1-0 lead. A Freddie Freeman homer has given the Braves a 1-0 lead. As the L rumbles across the tracks in right. Shot foul off the bat of Eric Ibar.
Love that. I love what just happened there. Ibar took a peek over his left shoulder to see where Baez was, but he wanted Baez to see him peek, so Baez started creeping in, and then he just yanks one as hard as he could. Just foul.
Ibar single on a hit and run play. Now he pushes a bunt toward first. It's a race to the bag, and Zobrist got there on a blind flip by Rizzo.
Well, you're exactly right there, Chip. He didn't even look, as he knew that's the only chance they had, and he was hoping Big Ben was over there. Excellent bunt, and I go to the runner. It's still in effect here.
Not enough to overturn, I'm guessing. But a good try by Ibar. He's retired 3-4 at first. Here's Stubbs. Drew struck out to end the second for the Braves.
Yeah, I think he lost the race. I think Eric was out. Good call by Jim Reynolds.
Even count. That's over the Braves dugout into the seats. You got to be a hardy soul to go for a pop-up on a cold day like today.
It's a sea of blue, isn't it? All the coats today.
I know what you're talking about, the lips and fingers too. Drew Stubbs took a breaking ball for a strike. And Lester now has 8 strikeouts in 4 2/3 innings.
Good pitch. That was more just a slider. That was not the cutter.
15 strikeouts is John Lester's career high. That was in 2014. He was still pitching with the Red Sox. His strikeout high this year is 10. A game he lost 2-0 to the Rockies. Lester has 5 double-digit strikeout games since joining the Cubs.
I think he might have been matched up against Chad Bettis in that game, and the report we got on that game was that was one of the few pitchers so far this year against the Cubs who was real aggressive and pounded the strike zone and made the Cubs swing the bat and got good results. And so far so good after the first inning for Aaron Blair in doing just that.
That's put in play to the right side. Rizzo will take it to the bag, and that will send us to the Cubs half of the 5th inning. Aaron Blair's retired 12 straight. He's got the bottom of the lineup card coming up with a 1-0 lead. Fans, it's time for today's SunTrust Moments That Matter. Let's go back to the 2010 National League Division Series. Eric Hinske. The most dramatic home runs in Braves history. Atlanta was trailing 1-0 in the 8th when he came off the bench and hit a 2-run homer off Sergio Romo to give the Braves a 2-1 lead. Today's SunTrust Moments That Matter.
That gives me goosebumps watching it now. How exciting. He is now the assistant hitting coach for the Cubs and still a member of Joe Maddon's staff. Even after Maddon took over last year as the manager, he retained him.
And he's not the only former Brave on Joe Maddon's staff. Henry Blanco is the quality control coach.
Henry was a great receiver. And I'm not talking about a wide receiver. What was the quote Henry had that I'm not sure what that is, but it sounds important? Be the quality control coach.
2 balls, no strikes for Javier Baez, and he rips one down the line. That's the first hit of the day for the Cubs, and it's going to be an extra base hit. Baez on his way to second, and he'll stop there with a leadoff double.
There are a lot of teams called about Javier Baez in the offseason. With their infield fairly set, a lot of teams thought he might be available because he can hit. This guy in the minor leagues, 1 year between Peoria and Daytona, had 16 homers. The next year between A and AA combined, he had 37 homers. The next year between AAA and the Cubs, he had 32. And he hit 13 last year for Iowa before he was called up. He's got some pop.
This is Addison Russell. And he drives one deep toward left. Francourto's going to track it down. And there's the first out. So no advance by Baez. Russell flies out for a second time, and here's David Ross. I wonder if Joe Maddon's going to use Baez the way that he used Ben Zobrist in Tampa Bay. Ben was kind of a super utility guy, played all over the place. Maybe Baez will be that kind of player for them until Zobrist goes, and then maybe he'll take over at second base every day.
That could quite possibly be the case. Zobrist was a highly desired free agent last winter too, and I guess maybe the thing that swung the pendulum to the Cubs was the fact that Zobrist had played for Joe in Tampa.
David Ross hit a homer yesterday. He's John Lester's personal catcher. And David popped out his first time today. You mentioned the injury to Schwarber. That's not the only significant injury for the Cubs.
Yeah, they got Miguel Montero on the DL too, their everyday catcher. He's got a bad back right now, so a lot of weight falls on David Ross. And the other thing too I learned today was that Kyle Schwarber who signed as a catcher and then had to play in the outfield to find a place for him. He was going to catch every 5th day and catch Hamill. He was going to be Hamill's personal catcher. Well, that's of course out the window too.
Two balls and a strike. Tim Fedorowicz is the man that was called up from the minor leagues to replace their injured backstop for the Cubs. 2 balls and a strike. Line base hit. Baez around third is getting waved. Francourt dropped the ball in left. No chance to make a throw to the plate. And we're tied at 1.
Ross keeps coming up with big hits for him, playing on a more regular basis. Sinker running back into him, and he hit it hard. Jeff was charging because he knew he was going to have a play at the plate. But look how deep that grass is. You only see about half the baseball. He couldn't pick it up cleanly, and Baez able to score easily.
So David Ross with an RBI hit ties it up. 6 RBIs for Ross. That gives John Lester new life. He grounded out his first time. Braves think he's going to try to bunt. No sign of it on the first pitch. Something else about Lester defensively. He doesn't like throwing to first base. I haven't seen the Braves other than Ibar try to bunt in the game.
Yeah, and I figured Eric would be the only one, but doesn't field his position well and hates to hold runners.
So we'll worry about that when we get to the top of the next inning, where it's a 1-1 score in the Cubs' fifth. Player 67 pitches. And this was the time in the game against the Mets where his stuff started to become less stiff.
Well, he can not aim it quite so much when he's got the pitcher up there.
Good spot. 2-1 your count. Back to the mound. Blair to second for one and on to first for two. He turned a double play just like that in his first start in the big leagues, and he puts out a fifth inning fire. Game tied 1-1. Top of the Braves order coming up. Last three games, they're 2 over 500. And the reason Adam Morgan is going to start is because our old pal Charlie Morton hurt himself. Torn hamstring for Charlie Morton, so severe that the hamstring came off the bone. He's going to have surgery if he hasn't had it already, and his season's over. He's got an 8-month recovery ahead.
It's sad news to hear. Tell you what, though, the Phillies swept Washington, as Jerome was talking about, have worn out Jonathan Papelbon since they've traded him. Got some numbers for you here that are phenomenal.
Nick Markakis leads off against Lester as we've hit the 6th inning. 1-1 score.
In the 8 games that he's in, the 5 games he's pitched against the Phillies since he left, Papelbon's given up 8 hits, 8 runs, 5 were earned, 2 homers, 3 walks, 2 hit batsmen, and just 3 strikeouts.
A shot toward the gap in left center field. That'll get down. Nice cutoff. And stopping at first is Markakis with a leadoff single. Soler, a nice job to get that ball before it got to the track. And apparently in that game, the last one won by the Phillies, it was it game 2 or game 3? It was a 1-0 game until the 9th inning, and Papelbon gave up 2 more.
I think they got all 3 runs in the 9th inning, the Phillies did.
And Bryce Harper misplayed a ball or something?
Yeah, he was playing too shallow, and I think he got the stink-eye look from Papelbon on how he misplayed it.
So that's not a good way to start a long road trip, which begins in St. Louis against the Cardinals. As Daniel Castro stands in, let's see if he lays down a bunt. He showed it and took a strike. Yeah, all 3 runs were in the 9th inning yesterday for the Phillies. Held the Nationals scoreless over the final 22 innings of that series.
Again, as Chip said, Lester does not like to throw over to first base. Not very good at fielding his position. Cake is not a real stolen base threat, but he can force the issue a little bit. If you take a one-way lead and try to make him throw to first, maybe you throw one away.
Pitch out. And Ross all the way to the front of the left-hand batter's box. That ball looked pretty close to the plate.
It was.
Hit and run. Markakis will head back to first as Castro swung late. 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's always a treat to come to Wrigley Field. It's a shame we have to come to Wrigley Field when the weather's still so cold. The ivy is beginning to bloom. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Little pop. And at second, Zobrist has it. And there's the first out. Toyota key play in this game for the Braves is Freddie Freeman's home run on a 3-0 pitch.
3-0 count down the middle. David Ross's head kind of slumps. Like I said, some hitters don't like to swing 3-0 for fear of overswinging. Freddie did not overswing on that one.
First home run Lester has allowed to a left-handed batter since he gave up a home run to Tigers pitcher Daniel Norris. Freddie swung at the first one again and fouled it back. A base hit the other way by Freeman. Markakis around second. He slams on the brakes.
Again, he beat the shift. Not a major overshift for Freddie, but Baez way off the line at third base gave him room to do this. Soler has a very good arm. I mean, as I said, he played right field all of last year. He can air it out.
As an outfielder with that grass, you better run to the ball because it will come to a stop if you're not careful. So a fly ball could. Let me back up. Markakis stopped at second. Let's see if Garcia can split a gap. You're with 2 on and 1 out.
You know he'll be hacking at that first one. Anywhere close.
Off-speed pitch.
Can't believe it. Curveball too. He doesn't like curveballs. He likes the first pitch fastball, but it was there. Oddly, Braves left-hand hitters today are 3 for 6 off Lester. Right-handers 2 for 14.
So that cutter must be cutting.
And we've seen some funny swings and some takes on some pitches they thought were inside and weren't.
Bouncing ball right side. Rizzo's got it. Second one. First two. Lester got a huge ground ball out. And a double play ends the Braves' threat in the 6th. No runs, 2 hits, 1 left. Top of the order for Chicago. Tie game. Dexter Fowler is having a really good year. And you'll see how good a year on our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard.
NL ranks for him 5th, 2nd, tied for 4th and 3rd. As the leadoff hitter, that is exactly what you want. Getting on base, scoring runs in front of all these thumpers for the Cubs. The only problem for Dexter was an ill-advised decline on his part for an original offer the Cubs made. He didn't sign until late February, and it cost him quite a bit of money. I'm sure the agent made it up for him, but
They always do, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Dexter's doing just fine with the Cubs. 0 for 1 with a walk today. Career high last year in runs, games, hits, homers, and walks. Foul at the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. How about Aaron Blair? First game at Wrigley Field. He's given up 2 hits to this terrific Chicago offense, a club that's scoring 6.19 runs a game, second only to the Cardinals. Did he go? Nope. 2-2. Don't want to walk him. That's how the game started for Aaron. A 4-pitch pass in the first. He lost him. So Fowler aboard. And that'll bring up Jason Hayward.
First walk since the first inning.
His 3rd of the game. Hayward 0 for 2, bounced into a forced play in the first and struck out swinging to end inning number 3. Brewers bullpen is beginning to stir as Blair turns it loose. Caught a corner.
He's made some good pitches on Hayward today, including a good sinker down and away to strike him out in the 3rd inning. Withrow ready to start warming up.
Here's a number I didn't realize about Jason Hayward. Oh, he's hitting at home. He has 3 hits and 31 at bats at Wrigley this year.
Is that right?
That includes today's 0 for 2. Well, that'll change when weather warms up and wind blows in the hitter's direction. Jason's a lifetime .261 hitter in this ballpark. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fowler's going. Swing, fly ball, little pop. Ibar drifts out at second, and he's got it. Fowler late back to first. The throw is going to double him up. What was Fowler looking at?
Not his third base coach, which is what you're taught to do as soon as you're not sure where the ball was hit. If you're on a straight steal, find your third base coach. He didn't, got deep. He saw the ball all the way.
That's what I'm saying.
I was watching Ibar go out there and camp under it. I thought he got fooled by not knowing where it was. Bad base running there by Dexter. Unusual.
So the second double play behind Aaron Blair today brings up Ben Zobrist. Cubs second baseman bounced out to first and has walked.
Zobrist did a great job last year after Kansas City picked him up and was on their World Championship team. 59 games for the Royals. He had 284 with 7 homers.
Zobrist hit that before it hit him. That thing was biting in on his hands.
And he is no spring chicken. He will turn 35 at the end of May. He's now in Franklin, Tennessee.
Popped him up. Garcia at third base has plenty of room. And Aaron Blair is pitching a beauty against the Chicago Cubs. Let's get him a run. We head to the 7th. Jeff Francoeur will lead it off.
young Jeff Francoeur, Parkview baseball, Parkview football. Arguably one of the most highly decorated high school athletes in the history of the state of Georgia.
Now leading off inning number 7 against John Lester. Lester and Blair, a Wrigley Field pitchers duel, 1-1 game. A James Bond crowd here in Chicago. 34,000. 007.
You got the voice for that now, man.
Yeah. It's a little young to be sounding like my grandfather.
That bug sounds like it's settling in your lungs now.
It's just great. It's been a lot of fun.
4 a.m. arrival in Boston, 3 a.m. arrival here, which was actually 4.
Base hit for Francoeur. Well, as my grandfather said, there's a cure for that. Didn't know there were so many Didn't know there were so many pharmacies on Rush Street. There's a start. Frenchie with a base hit brings up Tyler Flowers. He struck out twice.
Yeah, Jeff didn't miss that cutter.
Are they still doing the celebrity guest conductors for the 7th? They are. Still have the celebrity singers. Okay. Don't know who's singing today. Oh, one of my favorite performers is doing the 7th inning today. World famous rapper Warren G.
His last name really Harding?
Could be. And a beach ball got loose beyond the left center field fence. This is not Dodger Stadium. The fans are booing the beach ball.
And Dexter's not going to bother throwing it back. He's having the ball boy come get it.
That's not a beach ball. I mean, it looks like it's one of those plush pillow type. Or is it a plasticky? Yeah, it's plastic. Step on it. Come on.
Tyler Flowers is taking a couple of called thirds today. He's ahead in the count here. And has he been drawing some tough assignments? Kershaw and Price, now Lester.
What did he say to you when you brought that up to him?
He said, "Oh, it'll get better."
You almost hesitate to go to a player and say that because they know that it's a tough run of pitching assignments to handle. One ball, one strike as we hit 3 o'clock Chicago time. Pitch. 1-2.
Tyler's had some good luck lately. With his average at 310, he's had some good luck going the other way. It's almost as if he's looking for something to pull today off Lester and not getting it.
Lester's had his way with the righties for the most part today. As that one bounces up there, Ross came out of the chute ready to throw. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I would assume if you try to hit the ball away, that plays right to the hands of John Lester with that cutter. He's going to try to jam you with it.
Yes. But he's thrown him a couple of backdoor cutters, meaning ones that start off the plate and come back to the plate. And he has chosen to let those go. Target's inside again.
And that one got away from Ross, and it trickles all the way down the third base line. So there's a break. Francoeur at second with nobody out on a wild pitch.
Off the glove, off the shin guard. And 3-2 count. Let's see if Tyler's going to try to go the other way to try to get Jeff to third, even on a 3-2 count.
Ball 4. And another long look in by John Lester.
Went with the backdoor cutter again and didn't get the call. So now you got a good bunter up there and a pitcher who does not like to field bunts. Gondo now instead of Withrow in the Braves pen.
Rizzo's going to creep in at first. Baez angled toward the first base bag at third base. And a strike outside corner.
You'd like to make the third baseman field this bunt. By having to charge and field it, it opens up the bag at third base, barring any play that Cubs might put on.
It's bunted back to Lester, and he can't get it out of his glove.
There you go.
It was bunted so hard back to the mound that Rizzo couldn't get there to cut it off so that Lester wouldn't have to field it. And that's a bunt single, and the bases are loaded.
So last time you saw a manager go to the mound wearing a stocking cap. Think he forgot he had it on?
Maybe.
Probably not.
I especially like the little furry thing on the top. That's a nice touch.
You know, I was just trying to think. I don't think I ever saw Bobby Cox go to the mound wearing a stocking cap.
No.
I don't think I ever saw Bobby Cox wearing a stocking cap in the dugout. In fact, I'm 110% sure I did.
So the bullpen goes to work for the Cubs. Great opportunity for the Braves here with the bases loaded for Drew Stubbs. Lester has struck him out twice. Pop fly foul, strike one.
Anything but a double play. I mean, anything but a strikeout is what I meant to say. Even a double play would get a run in.
Nothing in two. Here's another area where there's a big difference between these two clubs. The number of at-bats these teams have had with the bases loaded this year. This is the 19th at-bat for a Braves hitter with the bases loaded. The Cubs have 31 such at-bats.
Drew's 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position, including a homer.
One and two.
Saw Jace Peterson out on deck, a left-handed hitter. That's because everyone on the Braves bench today is left-handed.
Whoa, full count.
Mercy.
And again, Lester with a long look in.
Like I said, you're going to see a lot of looks today on some pitches. Stubbs may have caught a break there and lived to tell about it.
No place to put Stubbs. Payoff pitch. There'll be another. Another foul ball by Stubbs. It's still 3-2.
I'm feeling pretty good about this right now because he doesn't want to walk in the go-ahead run here in the 7th inning. And he's not 100% sure he's going to get a call on a borderline pitch from the home plate umpire. So perhaps Stubbs will get something that's a little more in the middle of the plate.
The 8th pitch of the at-bat is caught on the mist.
One thing you didn't want to see happen.
3 strikeouts for Stubbs. That's 9 for Lester. And Jace Peterson is going to come on and hit. He's a .556 career hitter with the bases loaded.
What a good pitch. Like a cutter down at the knees. Jace a good butter. Don't often, in fact, hardly ever squeeze a left-handed hitter. But lefties, as we told you earlier, have had a good day against him.
Yeah, with that in mind, look at where Baez is playing. He was creeping in as that pitch was made. There's a big hole between third and short. If Jace can poke one the other way. One strike. The cutter is still cutting. Blair was terrific. 6 innings of 2-hit, 1-run ball.
It would be nice to get him a run.
Peterson behind in the count. Francoeur, Flowers, and Ibar the runners. Strike 3 outside corner. 10 strikeouts for John Lester.
Pretty much the same pitch that he threw Stubbs. I'm sure it looked low to Jace, but it was too close to take.
Now it's up to Markakis. Nick with 19 RBIs this year. 4th in the league.
And I know he likes the first pitch, so breaking ball immediately. Boy, has he been clutch.
Oh, what a cut. Even count. As Joe mentioned, the Cubs last year set a franchise record for strikeouts by a staff. They've struck out 44 hitters in their last 4 games. Lester has 10 today. After loading the bases with nobody out, the Braves are down to their last out here in the 7th. They have not yet scored. Pitch. Inside corner. Now Markakis' turn to complain.
said the ball curved around the plate. That's exactly what that one did. It never got close to the corner.
Markakis, I believe, saying that wasn't even close.
It wasn't.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
But look what he does. I've complained about this forever, but it never changes. For example, left-handed hitter, Ross sets up on the inside corner, and C.B. Buckner gets in a position he can't see home plate. He's got to look around the corner of the catcher and the hitter, or get blocked out completely by the catcher.
So after getting ahead, a ball and 2 strikes, 2 straight miss. Now it's a full count with 2 outs. The runners will be moving.
See how he has to look. Look how he's tilted to try to look around Nick Markakis on the pitch before. Horrible positioning to try to call a ball on a strike, and it's never fixed.
3-2. Serve toward left and toward the Cub bullpen. That's going to play. Well, in the old days with the outside chest protector, you'd see the video of the umpire holding that balloon and be positioned right above the catcher's mask. Now with the inside chest protector and the slot positioning,
or even if the catcher moved, he still stayed positioned over the middle of the plate.
Right.
Just because the catcher moves doesn't mean you've got to move.
Pitch number 30 in the inning. Ground ball to first. Rizzo's got it, and Lester's out of it. 7th inning stretch. Still tied 1 apiece. Today's Toyota Tweet of the Week. This week's question is, what's your favorite away stadium to watch the Braves play? Tweet us at Fox Sports South using hashtag Braves Road Game, and your answer could be read during our live Braves post-game show. This one's got to be at or near the top of the list, doesn't it?
Sure does. But not at the top for me.
I know where your heart is. It's where we just left, Fenway Park.
I love Fenway. And then Wrigley is really not, I'm not sure it's in my top 10.
What, you don't like the booth? I mean, this is such a luxurious broadcast position.
I will reassess at a later date when they've made all the improvements here.
Well, let's just say it's an acquired taste. I can understand.
Well, from the fan standpoint, I get it.
Yeah.
You know, it is a wonderful place to watch a game because you're close to the action and all the history and Cubs culture here. I certainly understand that.
Well, a shame the Braves had him loaded with nobody out and couldn't push across a run for Aaron Blair, who will depart with a no decision. And now Alexi Ogando is on to pitch for Atlanta. He'll face Rizzo, Soler, and Baez in the 7th. Pedro Strop is throwing in the Cubs pen. First from Ogando, misses outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
Strop. Ogando pitched last night, 2/3 of an inning, a hit and a walk, but no runs. His 11th outing. 12 innings, 10 strikeouts, but he's also issued 7 walks. Can't do that today.
Balls and a strike. Anthony Rizzo's going so good. He has his own breakfast cereal. Popped up left side. That's headed for the seats over the Cubs dugout. They're called Rizzo's, as you'd expect. And all the proceeds from that go to charity.
That's a good idea. Something like Cheerios, sort of.
Yeah, I guess. When we got in at 3 o'clock, we didn't have a chance to go to Jewel Osco and pick up a box, but maybe after the game today.
No.
Pitch. And ball 4. The Cubs have earned 4 walks today. And after the Braves loaded them up in the top of the 7th, Chicago threatens here in the home half.
Yeah, that's the bad part. You load them up, nobody out, you don't score. All of a sudden, the other team's got a little more hop in their step, and they're feeling pretty good. And let's face it, the Braves are playing on fumes. So the adrenaline and the fumes are beginning to wear down here in the 7th inning. Not sure what they've got left.
Soler is 0 for 2. Pitch has him behind, strike 1. Base hit the other way. Rizzo will stop at second. The Cubs play it station to station. And Baez will be the batter. He broke up Blair's no-hit bid with a leadoff single. He was back in inning number 5. Leadoff walks late usually are very problematic. Let's hope Ogando can pitch around this one. Ball 1. Baez showed bunt. His season began on the disabled list. He had a bruised thumb suffered in spring training.
They don't have many sacrifices, only 4 compared to 8 for Atlanta.
And that's fouled away. That's something we talked about when the Cubs were in Atlanta last year. Joe Madden hates the sacrifice even by his pitchers.
Yes.
He'd rather see him strike out and come back and have a seat and concentrate on going out and pitching again, which is very much an American League style of managerial thinking.
Exactly right. Tommy La Stella, the former Brave, behind him, getting his hands warm in case he needs to pinch hit. That was not a very good bunt attempt by Baez there.
He does not have a successful sacrifice in his big league career. Grounds this one to the right side. Broke his bat. That's as good as a sacrifice, though. The runners move up. Isn't that funny how it works out? So it'll cost him an at bat. But he's going to get the high five when he gets to the Cubs dugout because they've got runners second and third for Addison Russell.
See how the Braves play this. Russell's had a couple of good swings today, and last year hit .381 against the Braves with a couple of homers. We're going to put him on. I think that's a very good move with David Ross on deck. Who could be a double play candidate. Isn't it amazing, Chip, and we talk about this quite a bit, how a leadoff walk late in the ball game leads to so much trouble and so many stressful pitches.
And when you load the bases and don't score an inning, many times the other team does for that point you just made. Hey, got a little momentum back on our side. As Roger McDowell is going to trot out and discuss the strategy with David Ross coming up. David Ross has not hit into a double play this year. He's only had 28 at-bats, however. Don't forget, stay tuned after the game. It's Braves Live presented by Xfinity. We'll have all of a recap of all of today's action. We'll talk with Freddie Gonzalez and the players on Braves Live presented by Xfinity.
They've hit into 2 double plays today, but only one was a ground ball double play. And they are second in the league in the fewest grounded into double plays coming into the game today with 10. The Braves had 19. Sure could use one here.
Ross has the Cubs RBI. That was a single that drove in Baez. Back where it came from. Second base 1. First base 2. Double play. The Braves had David Ross positioned perfectly. He hit a rocket up the middle, and the inning is over. We head to the 8th. Memorial Day weekend with us at Turner Field. The Braves will take on the Marlins and the Giants beginning Friday, May 27th through Monday, May the 30th. Don't miss the Chipper and Freddie ATV bobblehead on the 28th. And Chris Stapleton on May 29th. Go to Braves.com/tickets today. Couple of changes for the Cubs. Matt Caesar's in left field. He's going to bat ninth. And Pedro Strop is on to pitch.
See his 11th game. He has been used at different times in his Cubs career as a part-time closer. He had 3 last year, had 3 saves last year in 76 opportunities to pitch for the Cubs. 2-6, a 2.91 ERA, throws very hard. 81 strikeouts in 68 innings last year. And there's Matt Caesar, who stays in the game, or comes into the game, play left field in a double switch.
So Daniel Castro leads off the 8th. Castro walked, he's flied out, and he's popped to second. 1 ball, no strikes. David Ross and C.B. Buckner are chirping behind the plate. It's all right, though. Going for a strike. At short, long throw. Russell got his man by a step. 1 down. Cubs bullpen has been very good this year. 2.82 relief ERA. 63 strikeouts, 18 walks in 51 innings. Their pitching coach is Chris Bosio, who I think is overshadowed by the success and talent and personality of Joe Madden here in Chicago, but I think he does a terrific job very, very quietly.
I agree. One of his philosophies is pitch inside.
Freddie Freeman accounted for the Braves' run, a majestic home run to right. That led off the 4th. It was on a 3-0 pitch. First time in Freddie's career he ever homered on a 3-0 count. Good cut. It's 2-2. And down he goes.
Got the strikeout. He tried to quick pitch Freddie, but Freeman was all set for that. He just didn't connect. Backdoor breaking ball. There it is again.
Three straight seasons for Strop with a sub-3 ERA in relief. And he is not wasting any time on a cold day. Bonus, all of a sudden, down 2 quick strikes. It's fouled off his foot.
It's that kind of day. Been raw, been hard on the hitters. That's why we have a 1-1 game. That time Strop. Here's a good look. Gotta be able to breathe, right? That time Strop kicked his leg in the air and then just froze there for a second.
Swing and a miss. A 1-2-3-8 for Pedro Strop. David Ross and C.B. Buckner continue their chat. as we're still tied 1 apiece. Road trips heading to Kansas City to see the Braves take on the Royals May 13th through May 15th. Visit Braves.com/road trip for all of the details. Twitter question was, which is one of your favorite road ballparks? Well, Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City has to be one of them too. That place is gorgeous.
It is. It's still an awesome place. It's one of the oldest in the game now.
The Dodger Stadium in the American League, I guess you could say.
Pretty close, yeah.
Jim Johnson to pitch. Tommy LaStella, the former Brave, will pinch hit for Chicago as we head to the 8th inning.
Tommy's off to an awesome start. 9 for 24, 4 doubles and a homer. 2 for 4 as a pinch hitter.
He's always been able to hit. The question was, could Tommy play effectively enough on defense? And looking at him from our vantage point, he looks leaner and trimmer than he was when he was with the Braves.
We just came from Boston. I believe that's where he broke in with the Braves. He was in Boston and had a real difficult play around the bag at second base that he wasn't able to handle, that turned into a game-ending play.
Yep. He's got a good eye here. 3 balls and a strike from Johnson. 9-1-2 on the card coming up for the Cubs. That means Fowler and Hayward will follow. Both teams golden opportunities to score runs late. High fly ball left. Francoeur on the run. Still going back. Still going back. It's over his head and underneath the basket. LaStella glides into second with a stand-up double on a 3-1 pitch. I think that surprised Jeff. It surprised me that it carried out to left so quickly and so well.
Yeah, the wind's died down a little bit, not blowing in as hard as it was at the beginning of the game. Fastball that he went with and really put a good swing on it. Jeff playing fairly shallow, not able to track it down. So another good opportunity for the Cubs. Jim Johnson's been outstanding. He pitched last night, an inning, 0s across with a strikeout, but he's in some trouble here.
Swing and a miss by Fowler. So LaStella now a 4-game hitting streak with 6 hits in those 4 games. And his 9th pinch hit in his Cubs career. He represents the go-ahead run. Fowler has walked twice and has grounded out once. As Joe said, these Cubs don't bunt much. Fowler does not have a sacrifice. Johnson's going to third, and they got their man.
What a good play by Jim Johnson. I'm sure Tyler Flowers was telling him where to go with that and could see La Stella and how close he was to the bag. Tommy La Stella is not very fast, so they had time here, and a good throw gave Garcia a chance to put the tag on. Excellent defense. Man, oh man, is that a big play. Got him right there.
So that erases the leadoff double, but a fast man at first with one out. Jason Hayward coming up. Jason is 0 for 12 of late for the Cubs. Hasn't gotten on track at home. Johnson will try to keep that working here late.
Two stolen bases for Fowler. He's not been caught stealing yet.
One ball, no strikes.
Stolen bases last year for Fowler, 7 caught stealing.
He's going, and Hayward checked his swing, and that's rifled foul.
That happened earlier today when Hayward and who was it, Zobrist, were running. Yeah, they were running, and Rizzo grounded out on an 0-2 count. And they both had good jumps, so it kind of saved the Braves. I mean, they advanced, but Atlanta got an out of it.
That skipped up there, and Flowers somehow got his chest protector in front of the ball. That's an amazing stop.
Yeah, and then he had to bump Hayward out of the way to go get it. Bounced out of the glove, and now he's got to go through Jason to go get it. Great stop.
Three balls and a strike. Runner goes. Ball 4. That's the 6th walk earned by the Cubs in the game. And now Ben Zobrist is the batter. He's a switch hitter. We've got Rizzo, then Caesar to follow. First walk for Johnson. Zobrist 0 for 2. He's earned a walk today.
Pretty much count on this guy to put the ball in play too. Only 10 strikeouts in 88 plate appearances. Pitch.
Aaron Blair started for the Braves. 6 innings of 2 hit, 1 run ball. Ogando pitched a scoreless inning. Now Jim Johnson in the soup. 2 on, 1 out. Bouncing ball, just foul.
Whew, that was close.
That might have scored 2.
Puts Jim Johnson in a count where he could polish him off with a good pitch. Chances are, barring a double play, this is his last hitter anyway. With Rizzo coming up, the Braves have O'Flaherty ready in the pen if needed.
Base hit to right. Fowler held up, and the bases are loaded. That ball was sharply hit. Not sure why Fowler stopped.
I'm not sure either, because it wasn't that low. I thought it was elevated enough where he figured the infielders couldn't catch it. But that's the second questionable base running play we've seen today out of Fowler, who got doubled off first base earlier today.
So Jim Johnson will depart with the bases loaded. Eric O'Flaherty is on to face Anthony Rizzo. Eric's been pitching well of late. We'll see if he can keep that up when we come back. Their battle against the Cubs at Wrigley. Fox Sports South is the place to catch all the action. Our coverage starts at 1:30 Eastern on Fox Sports South. It streams live on Fox Sports Go. April in the ATL continues, presented by Cook's Pest Control. Well, a big mess for Eric O'Flaherty. Bases loaded, 1 out. Anthony Rizzo is up. For all the great work Rizzo has done this year, almost none of it has been done against left-handed pitching. Rizzo is 1 for 21 against left-handers this year. However, that one hit, a home run. One ball, 1 strike.
And O'Flaherty has been better against lefties lately. He got off to a slow start trying to retire them, but on the year 4 for 16. Those hits is a homer.
Rizzo hit lefties at a .294 clip last year. And he's got a base hit. Fowler's going to score. Hayward's around third. He's going to stop. And Rizzo, with his second hit against a lefty, puts the Cubs up 2-1.
Didn't try to do too much with that pitch. Nice at bat by Rizzo. He wasn't trying to hit one out in the street. He was trying to get the run in, and he did.
So Chicago loads the bases for the second time in as many innings and have finally broken through with an RBI hit. 2-1's your score here at Wrigley. It's a great way to see your Braves during the final season at Turner Field. Save off the regular game price and custom build your 4-game plan, or pick a popular plan like the bobblehead, Friday night fireworks, or Sunday kids plans by visiting Braves.com/4game. Chris Withrow, the latest out of the pen for the Braves.
He had a real good run going until a couple of days ago, and actually just kind of needed a couple of days rest. And 2/3 of an inning, 2 hits and a run against Boston. Should be ready to go, as ready as you can be when you get in, and the Braves got in last night.
Matt Caesar is the Cubs hitter.
I'd say he's made the best of some opportunities with them loaded.
Fly ball deep left. Francoeur back under the basket. It's a grand slam. Hail Caesar indeed. A grand slam gives the Cubs a 6-1 lead.
Short swing too.
He had 1 homer and 8 RBIs in 47 games last year. A homer and 4 RBIs with 1 swing against Withrow. And Chicago with a 5-run 8th. This one really hurts. Braves had the bases loaded, I should say, in the 7th inning with nobody out. In a tie game and couldn't push across a run. Cubs had him loaded in the bottom of the 7th, didn't score. But Johnson, O'Flaherty, and Withrow have been touched for 5 runs. 3 of them to Johnson, 1 to O'Flaherty, 1 to Withrow.
Caesar's name is so unique, and I thought I recognized it. He went to Villanova and was a football player at Villanova as well as baseball, and led them to the quarterfinals of the Division I football championship in 08. And they won the title in 09. Wide receiver. Out of Cape May, New Jersey.
Didn't get it. He was swinging for the fences. Full count.
Cubs won 6 out of 7 games against the Braves last year, and Atlanta won the first one. So they're on a 0-for-6 run against Chicago, and things just got worse.
So a walk to Baez. And that'll bring up Russell. Neither Lester nor Blair will factor in the decision. Pedro Strop, the beneficiary of all these runs. As that misses high, 1 ball, no strikes. Game 2 here tomorrow, weather permitting. Julio Teheran and John Lackey square off. The weather forecast is awful. We've been told there's a 100% chance of rain pretty much all day long. And there's apparently a mutual off day in July before the All-Star break when the Cubs are off. The Braves are off as well when Atlanta's coming to town to play the White Sox. All-Star festivities. That might be a potential make-up date.
That date would be July 7th.
But you have to,
provided that's what happens,
be postponed, right?
Provided they don't want to play a doubleheader Sunday, which would surprise me if they didn't.
One ball, 2 strikes. That's it high in the air to left. And Jeff's going to catch that at the edge of the track. And that's the second out of the inning. And David Ross, the 9th man to bat for Chicago. David looks like he's got kind of a protective device on the left forearm. Either that or those are the offensive plays for
The Bears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never seen that before.
It looks like a little plate of some kind.
You know, David's advancing years. Maybe that's just to remind him who he plays for.
Could be. 39 now.
Hits this one a mile high towards center. Stubbs says he's got it, and he does. 3 pitchers got 3 outs for Atlanta, but not before the Cubs scored 5 times at the end of the 9th. The #1 live streaming sports service, and it delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. That includes a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Go to MLB.tv for details. 6-1 is the score. A grand slam by Matt Caesar, the deciding blow, as Hector Rondon is on for the 7th time, and it's been a few days since he's had a chance to pitch. This is not a save situation, but he last went to work on the 26th.
And take a look at his numbers. 6 games, 6 innings, no walks, 11 strikeouts.
First pitch, Jeff Francoeur drives one to right. Hayward's going to have room. 1 down.
Not a safe situation, Chip, but he was already up, loosening up. He was going to pitch the 9th in what could have been a tie game, or if they took the lead, a safe situation had it not been for the grand slam.
Flowers 0 for 2. And a check swing off the screen. Strike 1. Disappointment in the 8th inning for Atlanta, but boy, you have to feel excited about what took place in the first 6 with Aaron Blair starting for the 2nd time. His young right-hander looked good. Walked in a pitch battle with John Lester. Didn't match him in strikeouts, but matched him in big pitches in the first 6 innings. Gave up only 1 run and 2 hits.
And didn't lose his poise on the mound when he walked 2 in the first inning. Pitched around that. But Lester was good too. Again, 4th time out of 5 starts where he allowed 1 earned run or less. And today struck out 10.
Flowers is down on strikes for a 3rd time, and 2 are out.
It's 13 strikeouts in all for the Cubs.
And we talked earlier today about the amazing run differential. The Cubs have outscored their opponents 136 to 57 so far.
Well, their home ERA is outstanding. It's good overall anyway, but a 2.13 ERA will get even better today once the Braves rally.
And they won't, as that ball is flipped to the pitcher off of Rizzo's glove. And the Chicago Cubs have won game 1 of the series 6-1. 5 runs in the 8th inning decided it. Matt Caesar's grand slam off Chris Withrow put it out of reach. 6-1 Chicago. Joe and I are back to Frosty Wrigley to recap it after this.